So let me reflect on this. Great job, right? So you know what it is. There's a lot of reasons why you should have it, right? But it's always tricky how to do it, right? So let's talk about how, especially those of you who have experiences, you know, it's a discussion on peers. It can be structured on structure. To make this work, we want to be able to survey everybody's opinions. We want to be able to make connections. So how do we do that? There's 13 of you here.
By coming up with questions or asking questions that you may not know of yet or have come up with during your writing.
Great. So you can think of questions or themes, right? That makes sense of the reading, right? That analyze the reading. So not just describe it, not summarize it, but develop some analyses. Okay. Any other things?
Using evidence from whatever text or film, like to answer questions or to kind of give your opinion.
Very good. That's kind of fundamental, right? So, connect or base on the reading, right? That's kind of fundamental. Great.
And then the agenda.
It was gonna be a read everything. I think another one too, in like previous classes that I've had with seminar, a lot of people tend to like go in deeper into the reading and find other articles that have connections. So like making outside connections or bringing those into the topic can also help like bring up other themes or questions.
Okay, so reading, relate to other material, right? To the broader context.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Any other ones?
Maybe any like critiques you have of the reading?
Okay, so you can discuss, critique, discuss content plus style, right? Kind of the style of the paper, the critique of not just what it's saying, but how it's communicated, right? Okay, any other ones? Great, okay, so, but let me extend that, okay, so I think this makes sense. But what I'm looking for now is maybe what we call the ground rules, right? So when you actually do the nuts and bolts, and I can give you an example, you know, to say start, I can as a facilitator, I could pose a question, right? Pose a question. So it's open for this discussion. So for those of you who have experience in seminar, what are some ground rules to make sure it's organized and civil? I guess you know.
Wait your turn, don't talk over others, don't make mean comments, don't intentionally try to hurt other people's feelings, because I've been in a seminar where that has happened and it's not pleasant.
So one important thing is to be considerate, right? Considerate
And thoughtful.
and you know, considering thoughtful of others, right? So whenever you talk, maybe to keep the spirit of the seminar, which is the why, right? The spirit, the reason we're doing is this, right? So I think we always need to come back from this, right? So when you say something, are we achieving that or not?
Come prepared.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, be prepared. Next.
Honesty.
Okay, honesty. Great. Honesty is very important, right? Because this is an opportunity as you kind of preparing for the kind of the real world, so to speak, to really be honest about what you don't understand and don't understand, right? And what your opinion is. But how do we achieve that? Honesty is hard, right? You're very kind of vulnerable. So what are things to make sure people can feel free, feel good about being honest? Thank you.
Kind of stay on the topic. I mean, like bring in other opinions and other things like that, but generally stay in the topic and like, you know.
Stay on topic, great. So now start talking about like the Mariners or something.
I remember in high school like doing this, and one thing is like one of our ground rules was to try to, like if somebody wasn't really sharing or didn't feel like they could be in it, try to invite them to share their opinion.
Okay, so how would you do it? I mean, the thing you're getting at, we want to have full participation, right?
Yeah.
So how did they do it to make sure everybody?
Like if you kind of notice that somebody wasn't really being able to talk or just kept missing their turn, you could invite them. So be like, hey, do you have any opinions on this matter or something like that?
Great. So that's a good one.
Something I've experienced before is when people got to dominate the conversations. Sometimes there'd be like one student that would just talk forever and ever,
Yeah.
and that can be frustrating.
Yeah, so, full participation, and I would put,
Inclusivity.
inclusive discussion, right? So another thing that we all as a community need to think about is, to achieve this, we need to make sure people have an opportunity to share. And I'll share sometimes what I've done is, at the end or at the beginning, I'll ask a question and we'll go around the room and people have the option to pass if they want to. But that also is a kind of low stakes tool to make sure people have an opportunity to share what they. Anything else? Great. So we'll take a picture of this. You okay?
I wrote notes.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to scribe today. Okay. In fact, I'll explain to you.
I'll post a set of ground rules that came out with discussion.
Yeah. So based on this, it was very good. It seems a little. I think I asked how many of you had seminar. A lot of you have had it. So who has never had seminar? Okay. 4 of you. Okay. Does this for you? Those of you have never. Does this kind of make sense? Okay. Okay. So what should I respond to? You guys did a great job. I usually make out my own list and what I cover, but I think all of what I cover is there. Maybe I'll share a couple of things I'd like to emphasize when I do seminar. One, when I started working at Evergreen, we had faculty workshop to do better seminars. And I remember somebody told me, the way you should think of seminar and tell students is that it's like a conversation that you would have, after watching a movie. You have a and I thought about it and I said, well, I guess what they're trying to tell me is that it should be in that spirit, it should be kind of relaxed, you're with friends. But then in the back of my mind, I thought, well, but it's not really the same. It's actually a big difference. So what do you think is a big difference? You think let's watch a movie with your friends and then you go get a pizza, as opposed to you watch a movie and then come here. What would be the difference?
Maybe that in seminar you're seeking an outcome.
That's good. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it could be very specific outcome, or it could be just sharing opinions. But you could also have that in your, friend conversation.
There's kind of like a broader question and purpose to the conversation.
In the seminar.
Yeah. It's like you're having a seminar to answer a question kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. There's more a purpose. Whereas after the bar, you're just kind of just sharing your opinion kind of thing, right?
Different audience.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's right. In your selected audience out there, watch a movie, whereas here, there are lots of people, right? It might be people that disagree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I thought about, it's not the same because of two things. One is, in seminar, part of doing seminar is learning how to support your opinion and how to convince somebody that doesn't agree with you, right? That's fundamental. Whereas you're in the bar, it's like, I love that movie. I hated that movie. You pass me this up. Okay. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Or I hated the movie because it's sad, It was very violent. Whereas in here, it's like, well, what do you mean, And then I loved it. I hated it. And you said, well, I'm going to try to convince you why you should love this movie. Right? So I think that's a big difference, right? The other difference is, I think what I like to emphasize in seminar is that, I don't know, you need to reflect in yourself, but I think very few people are natural public speakers. I don't know how many of you feel comfortable speaking in public. Very few. So I would say the majority of people are not natural public speakers. But if you look at what we see as faculty,